welcome back to my channel. Today I'm playing along with May I Scraplift You, which is Amy Lee, and the next big thing, which is adding large elements to your scrapbook, and today it's a large title. This is the lift I will be doing from Amy Lee. I really like it, and it's at the top corner there. I'm going to be scrapbooking some photos, actually just one of my youngest. She is only 13 in this photo, and she is absolutely beautiful. And I pulled out some simple story stuff, a piece of cardstock. So I pulled out this blue piece of cardstock and this simple stories, I think it's called Wildflower, with the moths. It is so pretty. If you want to know what it is for sure, just let me know in the comments below, and I will see if I can find I have the paper still. The beauty came from that page setup kit thing. Page elements. I don't know what it's called. You probably know what it's called better than I do. But so I'm going to use this blue piece. I was trying to look at the name of it. It's some weird name that I can't say, so I'm not going to. And then it looks like this pattern page it's not quite half of what the Amy's is, so I'm going to cut it at 5. So I was thinking 1/3 ish, which would have been 4, but I wanted a little more than that, which is also on hers, so I chose 5. And I just took the top bit off, and that's going to get put on here. I'm going to cut my photo down so it's a 4x5, so a little bit off the top, a little bit off the bottom. Doesn't impact the photo at all, but yeah, the other side is pretty cute too. But those moths are super cool. Ties the blue in the background of the photo that she's in, because you get that bright blue sky behind her. And this is from September of last year, so lots of fun. And so for my big title, I am going to start with that beauty piece, and I am going to play around with that a bit. I'm going to get this piece of paper down. On the layout that I am lifting, people might be using a different one than me. The one that I am lifting has 2 border pieces on it, so I am going to use border pieces. The photo is matted, so I'm going to mat my photo. I'm going to use just this piece of scrap that's sitting around there, and I'm going to cut it to 4 1/4 by 5 1/4, I think is what I do. Yeah, that's definitely what I do. And then that goes about 1/8 of an inch around. And I'm going to get that on right away. Just rough up the edge just a little bit. And that gives a little bit of definition between those black background papers and her photo. And then I had wanted the You Are Loved, so this is Beauty You Are Loved. And so I'm trying to make a big title, because that's our next big thing, is having a big title. So I was looking at that shine. I will get back to that shine, but I was looking at trying to use some other things. So I do have this border piece, and this is super old from my stash. Like, I know it's more than 10 years old, but it could be closer to 20. I think this is one of the first border pieces that I ever bought, and I know it hasn't been around for a long time. So the sticky is not very sticky anymore, so I was trying to stick it down. It obviously, if you take a look, it was not sticking at all. So I'm going to line that center hole up with the paper in the background, that's the moth paper, and so that it gives a nice edge. It hides the line there. I did cut it off a little bit just so that I can save a little bit of it in case I wanted to use it on the page. Spoiler, I don't, but that was the thought process. And being hid underneath the photo makes it like you don't see it, so it doesn't really matter. So I have a little piece left, which I could probably use for a different page. And then I pulled out this piece of ribbon, and it's got a lighter blue and a darker blue that matches those moths pretty good. So this is going to be the second piece that Amy has on hers. And I'm just going to, first I'm going to try and glue it, but it's a pretty thick piece of ribbon and it doesn't glue very well. So I'm going to try and glue it here, and then I want it fairly straight. So I was going to try and glue it along this line and put it down, and then it just moves all over the place anyway. So see, all over the place. Part of my problem, but anyways, and then I was like, I'm just going to tiny attach it on. So I'm going to do one on the top to start with on each side. So I line it up with the moth's head just because that makes it easy. And then on this side, I'm going to line it up with the moth's head too. And then I am leaving those pieces hanging out the side for a second here. Just get this attached nice, and then I'm going to come back to both ends. I'm going to fold the ribbon underneath and then attach it. And then that makes sure it's nice and secure, and yeah, all done. So it's a little fiddly, but mostly because it was a thicker piece of ribbon than some of the other ones. But yeah, this is a really old sticker from my stash. It says Moments with You. The blue is perfect for this page. So on Amy's, she's got like a little banner flaggy part at the top there, and so that's going to take place of that spot. And I'm going to pull out these pieces. Some of them go flying on the floor. I go grab them from the floor, and look at the cat from Straight Your Stuff ended up on the floor, so I'm going to have to put him away. But I didn't even realize he was down there. So, yeah, well, he goes away right away. But and then I'm trying to play with these page pieces that are just little embellishment pieces. And they go with the kit really well, they're made for this. And so I'm going to use one of the moths out of there. I'm going to use these two bigger floral pieces, and the one big floral piece on the bottom right kind of is in that coffee cup part of things. And then because she's got embellishments around, so I did think about using this extraordinary. So I was thinking extraordinary and beauty, you're loved. I thought about extraordinary, beauty, you are loved. But the extraordinary just didn't quite fit how I wanted it. So it covers the T too much in the B, and that bothered me. So I was trying to see if I cut this down a little bit, if I could use this sticker differently. It is a really, really old sticker. Like, this is probably 3 of the oldest pieces in my stash today is going on here, which is awesome. So that would have been okay if I had something else to go underneath. So it could have been extraordinary and something, beauty, you are loved. But I didn't have the something else to put on there that I wanted. And that would have been, I don't know, it wasn't what I wanted. I thought about that piece for a half second. I went, nope. But I definitely want this Moments with You on the top here. So I'm going to pull that backing off of that sticker. And the sticker is actually not too bad. But I am going to put some glue on the moth. And I'm going to put some glue off the screen on the sticker. And I'm going to organize them together. But look how sticky that was. It was pretty sticky. And then I'm going to put them down. And I think that's so cute. And it brings that moth up to the top. And I didn't even have to fussy cut it out because I already had one. Yay! And then those flowers are going to go at the top here. And that ties those two together. And it does need a little bit more at the top, but we'll come back to that in a second. Maybe a little less than a second, or a little more than a second. And then I'm going to tackle this title. So I definitely want the beauty. So the beauty is going to go on here. And that's a pretty large title to begin with. But I wanted to add a little bit more to it. So just making sure that is straight. The glue makes it move just a little bit easier. Oh, sometimes words are trouble. And then I am going to speed this up here in a second, but I am going to put the "You Are Loved" underneath the beauty. It's going to overlap that Y, but because the next big thing is supposed to be this title, I didn't want to like cut the title putting on off because yeah, it's about the title. So right? Don't take it off. So I am going to fiddle with this a little bit. These aren't so sticky anymore, and so when they get pushed down, I think these ones will stay, but I might have to go back and add some glue to them. We'll see. That was being quite fussy, but at least I guess when they don't stick super well to start with, means you've got some wiggle room with them and you can get them on how you want them. They weren't too hard to get straight, so I am using my T-square to do that as well. And then I decided the shine is going to go on top, and so it is also in gold, so it has that gold in. That beauty has kind of got a gold tone to it anyway, and so the shine, beauty, "You Are Loved" I think works really well for a title. Just looking at the other pieces, and I think that works really well. I did think about putting this floral on here that's part of that gold leftover bits I have, and it's not going to make it, which is okay. I'm going to pop my picture up on some foam so it has a little bit of dimension. And then I am going to do it so that that piece of ribbon has its own little channel so that it doesn't get smooshed with the picture. Because sometimes when I don't, you get a line for where some thicker ribbon is. So I'm going to do it this way, and then I don't have to worry about that thicker line with the ribbon. And that works. My title ends up being probably as big, if not bigger, than my photo. So I think challenge big title has been achieved. So I'm just going to finish off doing some embellishing. So definitely want these at the bottom here. There's some stuff going up the side and a little bit around the top of Amy's layout. I'm not going to do around the top, but I am definitely going to do some around both sides. So I'm going to put this up on foam a little bit, kind of mess this up a little, but that's okay. I'll fix it in a minute. So I do like using foam, like thin foam, to get that circle bit. My mess up was I put that thicker piece a little too high, and it is pushing on that photo just a little bit, but it was really stuck. So I was going to try and make it work. It's going to bother me with the little indent in the photo that it's making because of where that foam is. So I will fix that in a minute, but I'm going to do the other side first. I'm going to decide if it really does bother me, but it definitely does bother me. So this is going to go on this other side. It's not sticking very well because the photo is pushing on it with the foam for the other side, but I'm going to put a little bit of foam on this flower on the left side, just trying to decide how I want it to orientate, and the green leaf is going to head out towards the ribbon, and then that's just going to be on, and that's great. That fits well. And then this says Bloom and Grow, and it's going to get snuck underneath. I used tape on it, but the tape for some reason didn't really want to stick very well there to start with. And I was thinking about making this title a little bit bigger. So I'm looking at these word stickers to see if there's something I can stick underneath that would work. And I found Today, Tomorrow, Forever. And so I thought underneath in a line. I thought underneath stacked, that's what I tried first. I didn't like either one. I don't know, it just didn't look balanced. So I'm gonna put them on this side because there's stuff on Amy's on this side. So there we go, stuff on this side. So yeah, and then I'm going to put some enamel dots on, and I picked out a pink that is a similar pink in those flowers to tie the pink in a couple different spots. So 3 go at the top, and then the rest go around the photo. So literally around one side, around the bottom, and literally just using all the pink ones up, because why not? Where can I put it? Here and there and everywhere. And that's where I realized that wasn't actually sticking very well. And this is still moving and not sticking. And I'm going to cut the corner off. And that fixes the problem of that part. Needs more tape, but. And on, and that works better. I'm happy with that. This is going to go back on underneath. And I'm happy with that. And finish up some of these. I think there's one more. And then I thought it needed just something else. So I looked at it and I went, something around the top. I don't know. I do have this in the chipboard. This is the tiger paper I used a couple days ago. So I'm just going to use this one, and it says always in forever. And then I'm going to pull this heart, and it's going to go above the word stickers here. And that just brings that line up just a little bit more. Thinking about putting this on one more time. It is not going on. And then can I sneak this in somewhere? It's not going on. Nope. It could have been cute on the top there, but I like the way it looks right now. And then I decide I need to put the date on here, and all my roller date stamps don't go up high enough for the year. So I'm going to have to use this really old Studio Calico one. It's from 2017. And I'm going to use the September and then the 2 and the 2 and the 4 and the 0 to make 2024. So I'm going to do the 024 first, and then I'll stamp the other 2 after. I'm going to do this in black. Put it on my block. I'm going to stamp it on a piece of white cardstock to start with to make sure I like the way it looks and it's lined up, because I don't line things up so well sometimes. So that's just archival black, and that's okay. The 4 is just a little too high, and so I'm just going to move it just the tiniest bit. Try it again. I don't like how the September is sitting, so I just literally pull it off and fiddle with that 4 just a tiny bit more. It's going to go on. Move that 2, stamp it, line it up, and stamp. And then the September, I thought maybe it would be kind of cool running through the numbers, and it would have been fine if I pulled out like a blue or something, but I didn't like it with the black and black, so I just do it over top a little closer than what I'd stamped to begin with, and that one's good. As I was doing that, the shine moved off my page, so I'm just going to glue that right back on. And now that won't come off because of the glue is on it. And just going to tie that black in a little bit by doing an edge around my layout. And this one will be done. So there'll be some still shots and close-ups here to follow. Thank you so much for Amy Lee for being the inspiration for today's layout. Thanks for Pineapple Papers for making this happen for May I Scraplift You. She's the one that organizes it. And thank you for Shannon Blin, who's the Next Big Thing organizer. There'll also be some playlists below So make sure you check out some of the other ladies that are creating, and especially those ones that I mentioned. I will link them below as well. And I'm super happy with this one. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you liked my video, I would love it if you liked, comment. I respond to everybody's comments, and subscribe if you haven't yet. There's some other videos that you might like up here. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day.